Hi friends, welcome and welcome back to Soulevision, the safe channel to your soul. How are you guys doing? Good? Great. I'm doing great. No major changes since last week. So without further ado, we can get into our affirmations and I want you to say them with me as we can be affirmed together. Ready? Ready. I am in love with myself. I have purpose. I attract greatness. I attract success. I am one of a kind. I am authentically me. I am excited about my future. I act with power. I won't allow negative thoughts to dictate my life or actions. I am enough. Wow. I think those were good. How did y'all feel about those? I think those were really good. I hope this video finds you well. I hope you guys are doing great out there. I hope your mental's okay. And if not, I hope I help. If that's what I'm supposed to be doing, let me know. So today's deep topic, it's hot. I am hot. All these lights. Today's deep talking, we'll be talking about what healing feels like. So for whatever reason, I feel like I start with for whatever reason in every single episode, but for whatever reason, the healing stages and the healing journey has been glamorized so much so to the point that you would think that healing is obviously it's a great experience, but you would think that it looks like you being free and dancing and smiling and just doing whatever, but nobody shows the real part, the actual healing. I think the freeness is after you go through certain things and after you face certain traumas head on, but nobody realizes like what healing really feels like. Healing does not feel good. So I wrote down some things because obviously y'all know I forget stuff. So this is for anyone that has been on this healing journey and they are finding that it's not as glamorous as people make it seem. You see the dancing, you see them being free, but your healing doesn't look like that. And you feel like something is wrong with you. But no, that's normal. They don't show the struggle, and that's why I'm here. Sometimes healing feels like isolation, and depending on the person, that might feel good to you and also might not feel great for you because nobody wants to be alone in a situation. But the plus is when you're alone, you have time to think, you have time to reflect, you have time to get to know yourself, you get time to analyze what might be wrong, what didn't go right. You get to go back into your childhood to see like where you pinpoint where exactly your triggers come from. You get to analyze who did what, how did they do that, how did it make you feel, and how is it showing up in your adult life. So though you feel alone and isolated, just know that it's necessary for you to do that because you will not be able to understand why you need to heal, what places you need to heal in with all the distractions. So the isolation is for a reason. It's so that you can focus, and please remain focused. It's going to suck. And honestly, that is you growing from people as well. Like a part of healing is you do grow. You grow out of friendships that you thought you would have for the rest of your life. And that's just life. And that's just how it happens. And you just roll with the punches. And that's what it is. Next, sometimes healing feels like offending the people you love. But in reality, you're just establishing boundaries. And clearly they didn't respect them in the first place. So that is hard. That is a hard one. Because I should not be this nervous. Did I even put deodorant on, babe? What the heck? Once you realize that certain people don't make you feel good and you are constantly complaining about certain people, that's when you know that you need to set a boundary with them that isn't already set. So when you do go to set that boundary, they are shocked because you normally let them run over you, basically. So when you stand up for yourself, finally, they're like, hold on. You're not going to let me run over you? You're not going to let me control you? That's wild. And they're going to take it a certain kind of way. But in your head, you have to stay focused and remember that you are just setting boundaries and they don't like that. And they won't see that. And you cannot expect them to because they're not on a journey of healing. Everyone won't be on that journey of healing. But just stay focused. Stay determined. Know that whoever these people are will try to make you feel bad for setting your boundaries, but set them anyways because you'll feel better in the end. Of course, you're going to feel terrible while it's happening because that's the mind game. That's the trick. But keep setting those boundaries and you'll see how life gets better. And if people don't want to accept those boundaries, then that tells you that they don't need to be in your life anyways. It's just weaving out people that feel comfortable not treating you well. Boundaries. They're going to be upset because they're used to not treating you well. And what kind of person is that? Think about it. Upset that you want to be treated fairly. Wild. Sometimes healing feels like you're going crazy. It can feel like your brain is running against you. It feels like you're mentally ill, I think. I feel like because you're fighting your own brain against what you're used to versus what you know is right, what's wrong, and what should be and shouldn't be. But your brain is conditioned to be the way it has been from your childhood and how you were raised. So it's like your brain is fighting itself. So of course you're going to feel crazy. In order to want to be better, you have to know that you are not good in certain areas. And then you have this other side of you. You have the bad side, you have the good side, and they're fighting. So of course you're going to feel crazy. You're going to be confused. Like there's going to be certain things that pop up that you're like, I didn't know this affected me that much. I thought this was a little thing, but turns out it has been the root of most of your problems and you don't realize it. That's why that isolation is important. Because you wouldn't realize it if you're distracted. It's just wild because things just pop up as you're going through your healing journey, and you can most of the time you can pinpoint where certain things come from and how it shows up in your adult life. Like if you're insecure or you have body image issues or you have side effects of mental abuse, physical abuse, narcissistic abuse, all those things, most of the time you can pinpoint on your journey, you can pinpoint where that comes from. And then what your brain does is remember other things that it tried to protect you from. So basically, let's break it down. The brain, when you go through certain traumas, in order to protect you, it forgets major parts. It blacks it out so that you won't have to visualize them again. It is trying to help you. But while you're on this journey, you're going through the files and then you realize like, oh snap, that did happen to me. And it hits you like a ton of bricks and you are messed up. You toe up for a few days or however long it takes you. But just know that it's normal. All I want to do is normalize the ugly part of healing, because the ugly part, depending on what you've been through, that takes up the majority of it. The free part is a nice side effect, but you're going to feel like you're crazy. Sometimes healing feels like you're the only person in the world going through it, and that's not true. It's just that you are in your own head and you're focusing, which is great, on your own things and what you have going on. But trust me, you're not the only one. You're not the only one that's feeling crazy. You're not the only one that's feeling alone. You're not the only one actually scared of what might come from your brain and, your experiences, especially if you're the type who forgets a lot of things and it just pops up. That's me. I forget a lot of things. If you can't tell, I have to write stuff down for this episode. But Sometimes certain memories or like certain conversations remind me of something that I did not know affected me, and then I'm crying in the shower. And that's fine too. I feel like in order to heal, a major key is to let every single emotion that you feel go. The point of healing is to basically, if you have a hose with a lot of pressure and the cap is on, what you're doing is releasing the cap and letting everything out. That's the only way you can get through it. So when you go back and replay your traumatic experiences, whatever feelings that you felt during those times, that's what you let out. Because in those times, you masked it, you suppressed it, and it's still bottled up in you. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. It's gonna be some ugly crying. It's gonna be some screaming. It's probably you need to comfort yourself. It just depends on what it is. You just let out exactly how you felt in that moment. At that time, when you go back, it's all through the analysis of your life. But I promise you're not the only one going through it. You'll never be the only person going through it. I feel like it's just the fact that your healing journey is literally a journey you have to do on your own regardless. So I think it's natural that you have to go through that. Like no one else can be in your brain and fight the thoughts that you have and fight the conditioning that you have. Nobody can be in your head fighting those mental fights that you have. No one knows exactly who the person you want to be and how far you have to go from who the person you are to be the person you want to be. No one can be in your head. They can give you words of encouragement, but what's in your head is what matters. And that's what you have to fight. And I feel like that's the hardest fight. The mental is the hardest fight because sometimes it can have really a mind of its own. It can have those voices in your head from whoever wasn't speaking to you right as a kid. And that is just that voice in your head and you don't like it. And it's just there because it's set in stone. No one can help you fight that but you. Your journey of healing could make you feel sick, either physically or mentally. It may bring you down. It may make you rethink wanting to be better. It can further your depressed thoughts. It can really make you rethink, like, do I really want to do this? Because now I feel worse than I felt before. Like I was able to cope with how I was feeling for all these years. But now that I'm trying to heal, it feels like I feel worse. And it doesn't look like what they're showing me. I'm not dancing. I'm not free. I'm not happy. I am sad and depressed. Like it's making it worse. But it's not the case. Yes, it does feel worse. Yes, it is going to get worse. But this is one of the things that has to get worse before it feels better. Since you suppress those emotions for so long, you have to let them out. And on your healing journey, while you have certain things that might bother you, you have to let those feelings out. You cannot repeat the cycle of suppressing it because later on it's going to come back out. You're going to have to do these things over again. And the healing journey never ends. There's always something new. There's always something that you uncover. There's always something that you realize. But it makes sense for you to feel worse. But after you feel worse, you feel better. You always feel better after a cry, no matter what. But that is normal. I just want to let you know it's normal. You are not alone. I just want you to, I just hope that you are believing in your mental, that you have enough to fight back and reassure yourself that things are going to get better and you are healing from these things and all the above. In order to heal, you really, I'm not sure if I said this already, but I feel like I need to say it. In order to heal, you really, 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 really have to go back in time in your head, replay things that bother you. There are certain things that you know still bother you to this day, whether you were bullied, whether you were abused in any kind of way, you know it bothers you, and you don't want to replay those things in your head, but you have to replay them in your head. You can either A, replay them and change the narrative, like you flip the whole script in your head, or you can give the young you what you needed at that time. which i.e. what I was talking about earlier. Say you were sexually abused and younger you wanted to cry, younger you wanted to tell someone, younger you wanted to scream. You do just that. Even though the younger you at that time, you just took it and put it in your backpack of trauma and kept going. You know what I'm saying? You got to feel those things. You have to feel those things. There's no way of going around it. There's no sugarcoating. You have to face them head on. You're going to feel terrible, but it's all for the greater good, because it's going to feel good to be able to think about those things and not be upset. Once you let the anger, the hurt, the frustration, the pain out, it's going to allow you to think those things and not feel how you felt. You're not going to feel the shame and anger anymore once you let those feelings out. That's the plus of healing. That's what makes it worthwhile, I think. Because normally what we try to do is distract ourselves, which is why distractions and healing don't go together. What we try to do is distract ourselves so we won't have these thoughts. But these thoughts are the things that you need to think of in order to heal. Stop distracting yourself. Sometimes healing feels like you're opening unknown layers of darkness that you didn't even know was within. I kind of already spoke on that, but it's like you think this one major thing is bothering you, and then you try to assess that and you try to go through that, and then it opens literally a can of worms, like things that you really didn't know was way under in those layers, in those tiers of trauma that were actually affecting you. But you don't realize how it shows up, because some things can show up as anger. Some things can show up as being an avoidant person. It just really depends on how you dictated you were going to cope with certain things. For me, for most aspects, in how I was trained to do with certain things, it showed up as me just going on like nothing happened, burying it deep down inside, because that is what I saw. I saw my mom have people do her wrong, do her dirty, whatever they wanted to her. She did not set boundaries. Not a diss against my mom, but she didn't set boundaries. But she didn't realize that we were watching her, and we were watching her have people do her dirty, and she just act like nothing happened. She was cool with them. She was friendly with them. So when I had issues or ran into a sexual abuse situation, I just went on like it didn't happen. So for me, and most of my issues and how I navigate through life, like I was saying with the sexual abuse issue and any other traumas that I've ever had, for the most part, it was me just going on like nothing happened. Being friends with these people that wronged me and caused me the most amount of trauma I've ever experienced in my whole entire life, because I was taught that. So no one knew anything. No, most people still don't know anything. But for me, what I saw, you go on the next day, someone could hit you, someone can choke you, someone could talk dirty about you, sexually abuse you, whatever. You go on the next day like it didn't happen. Because in my household, there was no kind of communication. There was no kind of letting people know feelings. There's none of that. There was not a piece of anything that was healthy for me to be able to speak about anything that has ever happened to me. So, and then with like certain other things like being bullied and stuff, that just caused me to be very self-conscious of myself, my image, like hating what I looked like. And that's sad for a kid, because I was getting bullied by family members, old elders, and then at school. So it was just like, before I had kids, I didn't start loving my body until after I had kids. And it was just like, I just hit a point of growth, and it was just like, why are you not liking your body? Like, I looked good the whole time, but it was just like, people had me thinking that I wasn't, basically. And as a kid, people get in your head. It's not even that you let them. They are just in there. Like, that is instilled in you. That's why I swear, anything that happens in your childhood, it just has a strong hold on you, because your brain, you're not able to think for yourself. You're not able to fight those thoughts. You're not able to, like, as you're, like, how you're an adult and someone could say something negative about you, you'd be like, nah, I know this. I know I'm this. I know I'm this. I don't believe what they're saying because they just a hater. You don't have that instinct or that mental capacity when you're a kid. So things that people say to you, that becomes what you tell yourself. That's why it's important to really speak positivity to your kids only, because you want that voice in their head to be kind to themselves. How are they going to learn to be kind to themselves if people around them aren't kind? So yeah, for me in my household, there was no open communication. There was no, like, talking about certain things that happened that should be discussed. Things that should be discussed were never discussed. I guess it was too uncomfortable for people to talk about, but that's what I really needed. You don't confront the people that bother you, because I didn't see that happen. And I don't want to call certain people cowards. And I don't want to call people out because that sounds too harsh, and I'm not really trying to call people out. I know that for my healing, all this has to do with me. You cannot blame anybody. In your healing journey, you cannot blame any single person. You know that they are the cause of it, but at this point in time, you are an adult and you have to deal with it. Sad as it may sound, because if not, you're just going to be a bitter adult that is upset at the world, when you can change your outlook if you choose to. Everything's a choice. Whew. Next point, whether you agree or not, the way you behave stems from how you were raised and how the things you dealt with in your adolescence. A quote. This is my quote. I wrote it down and it might come up in a future episode, but your parents taught you more from their actions than their words could ever say. And that's that. I feel that for sure. Especially for me, I do what I saw. I can clearly recall telling my mom about certain people, like, you shouldn't be cool with them, you shouldn't be friends, like, they did this to you, they did that to you. And, like, you know, Christians are like, you still have to be kind, you still have to do this, but it's not like you got to be buddy a key laughing with these people. And that's what I saw. So it's like, the people that abused me, like, I was cool with them. They were family members and I was cool with them. And in my kid brain, I didn't really see an issue with it until my brain developed and I was like, oh, that was messed up. When you're a kid, you don't realize that you're just following suit. You get older and you realize, wow, that wasn't right at all. But you see how now I can speak on it and not be like emotional, like certain things. And I feel like I just want to like tiptoe into this deepness, like getting into my life, because I want to just be straight out there and not have anything else to talk about, even though there's a lot of stuff. But it's just like, I told my mom this, when you have kids, the things that you have, like financials don't matter. Like we weren't the most well-off people, but we weren't like struggling. None of that even mattered. Like name brand stuff didn't matter because I was going through stuff mentally. Like, I guess we'll get into like more in depth on like if you were raised by a certain kind of person. This episode is on healing, so we'll just stay on healing, but there was just a lot. Next, healing ain't cute. Healing ain't cute. Healing ain't cute. Healing ain't cute. Healing is not cute. Healing's not cute. Healing is ugly feeling. It feels ugly. It feels ugly. You feel like you look at yourself and you're like, who is this person? I hate what happened to me. I hate that I had to go through this. I hate that this is so hard. I hate that this is a struggle. I hate just having to go through this period. Like, why me? What did I do? Did I deserve this? Because with certain things, you are so deep in depression that you feel like you deserved everything that happened to you, and you didn't. It's not a bad thing that you ever deserved. You don't deserve anything bad happening to you. It just happened. As harsh or as, I don't know how this is going to sound, whatever, but all the things that happened to you had to happen to you because you wouldn't be able to do or be who you are today. And yes, I get it. So for me, I feel like there's so much that happened to me, and it's all internal, which I think that's, if you're a person that keeps everything inside, it's hard for the people around you to understand what you're feeling because they think that everything is peachy because you didn't say anything. But in actuality, you were just taught not to say anything. And people don't realize what they pass on to their kids. Like, I don't think the generation above us thought it through, honestly. And I don't think it's their fault. They're just doing what they knew how to do. They're doing the best they could. Yada, yada, yada. They just used the tools that they had. They knew they could do. People was busy. People had to go to work. It was just a lot going on. I get it. A lot of people underestimate how you need to be mentally healthy before you have a kid versus financially able. Like, the financials don't mean anything. And if you are thinking about having kids and you're like, well, I need all this money. No, you need to have your mind right. You need to have your mind right because you can mess up someone just from messing with their mind without even realizing it. That's the thing. Like, you don't even realize certain things that could affect a kid. And that is also a hard thing about being a parent because you never know. Being a parent that was affected by certain things and have certain traumas from your parents, you don't know which thing, and you hope that nothing is that trauma for your kid. Another topic for another day. Last point, healing is crying, screaming, and getting all the anger, hurt, pain, rejection, abandonment that you held for years out. Healing is not cute. Healing is not cute. So, stay focused. Keep your eye on the prize. It may seem backwards because you weren't feeling well. You're reliving trauma that you wanted to keep buried deep. Remember that the better version of you is waiting on the other side of feeling alone, crazy, scared, neglected, etc. You got this. We believe in you. All right, we're going to get into our random part, our random topic. So random was like shower thoughts, fun facts, but I'm just going to have 2 random sections, and it's just what it is. All of it's from Reddit because we love Reddit. So this one is, what's your deepest secret? And some of these get juicy. Not gonna lie. My deepest secret is that I'm terrified of dying alone. I've always been a bit of a loner and have never really had any close friends or family. As I've gotten older, I've started to realize that I'm going to die alone, and it scares the hell out of me. All right. Gonna have to cut that out. That got sad. If you love yourself, that might be a good way to go. There's a lot of people that said they accepted this. I have no idea who my biological father is. My mother slept around one, she got pregnant, and therefore my father could be one of 4 people. But my mother doesn't know how to contact 2 of them. The person my mom married, the man who thinks I'm his child, is the only one I know for sure isn't my dad because my mom had a DNA test done behind his back. Oh my gosh. That's be devastating. Poor man. Are they going to tell? Do either of you plan to tell your dad that he's not your biological father? No, I genuinely think he would kill himself if I told. Wow. Okay. Do y'all think that they should tell him? They should, right? That sucks. You don't know your dad. Shame on your mom. I had a porn addiction before I even hit puberty. These are secrets. All right. I poop standing with my legs straight on the toilet. All right. I strongly dislike myself and my mistakes, and I overthink everything to the point of panic. I wonder if I'm really on the right path in my life, and I worry sometimes that I'll fail and let myself down. I think that's normal. But I think the fact that you're wondering is a good sign, and you're worrying, even though it doesn't feel good, it's a good sign that you want better, you want to be great. But just stay focused. I'm giving these people advice. I don't even know them. That I'm really convinced that none of my friends actually like me. Something just feels off. I'm terrified that one day they're going to stab me in the back because it's happened to me before. It could be because it happened to you before. When I was a kid, I was driving with my mom to Wiener Schnitzel, however you say it, and my mom an alcoholic, but she was a good mom and cared, but would often lie about drinking. And when we were in the parking lot, my mom left for food, and I texted my sister-in-law, and she said for me to call 911. So when I got home, I called 911 on my own mom. I watched, I don't know what they were trying to say. I was terrified as I lay on the couch. I ran when the door was knocked on. There was an ambulance. Oh my gosh, the typos. I think police, she yelled at me in front of them, and I cried and said I was scared. I hear all the police in the ambulance say, "Aw." I was a sugar baby to different successful men for 3 years. It's the deepest secret I will share here. That's a good one. I too would like to be a sugar baby. How can I do that? How can I get in contact with the right folks to get that happening? When I was in high school and still a minor, I would cam on adult websites and occasionally meet up with old men I met online for anonymous sex. I still fantasize a lot about my first girlfriend from high school, like every day, even though I've been married for decades. Perhaps because she was my first girlfriend and we barely did anything physical. It feels like an itch that's never been scratched. Wow. Do you still love her? I should point out, I don't have any feelings for her. I'm not idealizing her. However, I'm still very attracted to her. I think the fact that I never really did much weighs on me. Irrationally, I admit. These are secrets. My mom let my stepdad rape me repeatedly throughout my high school years. That's terrible. It's not really a secret since I don't know if it's true or not, but I think my dad has cheated or is cheating on my mom. Their marriage has had some rough patches where they would be at each other's throats and couldn't agree on anything, or they would get mad really easy. Okay, so my whole family has a cloud thing on our phone, so any apps that people download, other people can see them. This punctuation. Other people can see them if you go to a certain place on the app store. I know how to get there, and a week ago I was really bored and wanted to download some games, and I went to download some games from other people on the cloud so I didn't have to ask permission to get it. And I was scrolling through my dad's account and saw that he downloaded Tinder, Bumble, and other dating apps that I can't remember. And why else would you have dating apps? That's a good question. So this gives me suspicion that he cheated on my mother. It's a big leap, but I don't know what to do with this info. Should I confront him? That's tough. That's tough. Would you ask him? You care about your mom. Would you ask your dad why he got those apps? Maybe I would. I don't know. I can't say. I have loved one of my closest friends. It sounds basic, but the catch here is if anyone knew, my whole world would be destroyed. My best friends, my moms, my brothers, his family, his life, and my life, we both would lose a lot if I said anything. I've been through so many things with him. He doesn't even know how much he has helped me without him knowing it. I have helped him when he felt at his lowest. We both understand each other in a way in which other people can't. We both have a complex way of thinking that would take a while for other people to get used to. But we just click. It's easy. It's a very natural and secure. It's all very natural and secure. So, it seems like y'all are meant for each other. Go for it. That's tough. I can't give that advice. When I was 9, I used to text random men who were older than me and tell them I was 16. Looking back on it, I felt so disgusted in myself. I didn't know what I was doing was actually bad, but still. Being actually 16 now, it makes me feel disappointed in my younger self. But oh God, so many weird things I experienced, especially the weird men I ran into. People are sick. People are sick. My lack of higher math knowledge makes me self-conscious sometimes. I only know basic math. Aw. You're probably not the only one. You're not the only one. Let's say that. I have a boyfriend, but I like one of my best friends, and they also like me back. But I love both of them. I don't know what to do. Girl. Girl. You're trifling. You were trifling. Do you like one of your best friends? Who do you like more? But you don't love them both. You can't. All right, one more. In 4th grade, I was in a school where we could learn swimming on Thursdays. One nice sunny Thursday, I went to school, but for my swimming costume, what? I went in the pool with my uniform. I don't even know why. After I got out of the pool, my dad came with an extra pair of dress for me. I went to my classroom and changed because the bathrooms were occupied, and my friend went to a more private classroom to change. I changed my dress. My class was in the 2nd floor. I saw one of the guys of 8th grade was standing in the stairs staring at me. He stopped his friend from coming and was staring at me. I knew everyone well in the school. Everyone knew me too. I forgot my classroom has glass walls. I still feel disgusted remembering that time. That's so embarrassing. 4th grade. But at least the guy stopped people from coming, right? Just one person saw you. I don't know if I could ever marry anyone because I don't understand what love is, and I'm 28. It's the fact that I don't think I'm capable of loving anyone. I don't love my parents, and I guess part of the secret is that they're completely abusive, and I'm too scared to let anyone in. And have to act like my entire life is all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Okay, that makes sense. Completely understand. You were never showed love. That makes sense. I love my parents as parents, but as people, I'm not so sure. My deepest secret? Well, when I was little, my sisters forced me to watch porn, and I actually liked it. I was young at the time, like maybe 5 or 6. When I was 7, I had a tablet and I would watch porn on it. One day I almost got caught, but luckily they didn't see anything because apparently when you turn off your tablet and turn it back on, it goes to the home screen. I had an Amazon tablet at the time, but nobody found out till this day. Oh my gosh. That's so sad because the sisters don't know what they were doing, but you're addicted to porn at 7, like looking it up on your own. Oh my gosh. The voice in my head constantly tells me I'm bad in looks, bad in talents, bad in personality, and charisma, bad at everything. The voice in your head is a liar. That voice comes from your childhood. Whoever your parents were, I know they did not speak highly of you, and that's sad. All right, we're just gonna go on to the next one. All right, so the next silly, random thing we're gonna dive into is the question, what pisses you off instantly? Giant sink bowls, but tiny faucets that make your hands touch the back of it. Oh, what was the point of the big sink bowl? Because then you gotta wash your hands again, and that's not... You can't wash them as thoroughly as you want to because you don't have enough space. Getting blamed for something you didn't do. Yes, for sure. Completely agree. People who claim credit for someone else's work. For sure. And in their head, I don't understand how in their head they can do that with a clear conscience and confidence that you're not going to say anything. Which most of the time people don't say anything. So I guess that's where that confidence comes from. When someone calls me and I just barely missed a call, I immediately call them back and they don't pick up. What happened in those brief seconds that changed your current action plan in life? That's true. Because I'm trying to be good and return your call. Because I clearly have time to talk right now. I just didn't hear the ring. But you didn't answer. And now I'm upset. Because nothing happened. Because if I answered, we would have still been on the phone. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Or people that tell you to call them when they could have just called you. But hey. People who stop on the sidewalk to sell you their ideologies or products. They are the real life equivalent of pop-up windows. Agreed. Very annoying. And I want to be nice. Sometimes I let people say what they need to say. Because I'm sure a lot of people have turned them down for that whole entire day. I want you to at least practice and say what you need to say. I'm still going to decline, but at least you felt better that someone, at least one person, let you get what you need to say out. But when I say no, just take the no, because I don't want it. And I don't want to be mean. And you're going to force me to be mean. When someone tells me to do something that I am already doing, for sure. Instantly pissed, instantly pissed. Ever caught your belt loop on a door handle? That'd be the last straw. It really do be the last straw. Or I remember middle school, I remember running freely and frolicking in the hallways near doors, and maybe it was either my belt loop or my jacket pocket got caught. It had to be a belt loop. Was I that tall? I don't know. Something got caught and I fell flat on my back. Never forget. I will never forget. But when some get caught, that's the last straw. Like, especially if you already having a bad day, or back in the day you used to open your front door and you drop the keys. It's just like, all right, let me just get in this house before I blow something up. Not remembering what I clicked Google to look up happens to me all the time. Going into rooms, not remembering what you went in there for. Opening something, not knowing what you opened it for. It's just, it should be against the law, if I'm being honest. When people are walking slowly or stopping directly in front of me, like you don't have any regards to the people that are around you. Like you don't feel me coming up to you. You don't look around to see if anyone's around that you'll be cutting off or interrupting their walkway when you stop. People don't pay attention, and I don't think they care. Trying to open easy open packaging to find out that shit is not, in fact, easy to open in any way, shape, or form. True. Be feeling like you slow, because it said it's easy, but clearly somebody lied. When I wake up and see my phone didn't charge and it's almost drained. Upsetting. Especially if it's a day you need it. When you drop something on the floor, pick it up and put it back on the table, on the shelf, up against the wall, etc. And it falls on the floor again immediately. I go 1 to 100 immediately. Ironically, I'm a very calm person in crisis situations. For sure. But the second time you pick it up, you make sure you carefully put it there to make sure it doesn't fall again. Next, judgmental people who complain about your hobbies or interests just because it's not what they're into. Let people enjoy their own things. Yes. People listening to music on their phone in public transportation without earphones. That has to be the most annoying thing ever. Even if it's not just a bus walking down the street. I know earphones are cheap. Like, just go get you some. I don't want to hear what you listening to, and you singing along with it, and it's up to your ear. You just doing the most. Do you want everyone to hear it, or do you not have earphones? I feel like everybody got earphones at this point. When I see people smoking in a car with kids in the back, especially when the windows are closed, this makes me want to get physically aggressive. Understood. It's one thing to want to kill yourself, but give the babies a chance. Give the babies a chance. People who find joy in being cruel to others, they should go to jail. People who don't take responsibility for their mistakes, correct. Agreed. People trying to talk to me while I'm watching something and then getting pissy at me because I wasn't listening. Yeah. But I also get upset because you see me watching something. So you should not be trying to get my attention. But hey. People who always play the victim. Oh, especially when they're the ones that are offending. They play the victim when it's convenient. So annoying. And last one, plastic packaging that says tear here that does not tear there. It doesn't tear anywhere. All caps. It doesn't tear anywhere, all caps. All right. So we are getting into the last 2 segments, which is what I learned this week and this week's challenge. So what I learned this week is cut and dry. What did you learn this week about yourself? What lessons did you learn? Is there something you had an aha moment with things in your life or yourself, whatever it may be? Comment below what you learned this week. What I learned this week is to stop trying to do and be everything for everyone. because I find myself burning out. And this week is just very simple. Like, I feel like I put the pressure on myself to be the best in every single realm of my life, which that's good. But me proving that I'm the best means me taking up on all the tasks necessary in order to do so. And that's not cool because I'll be doing too much. I don't have enough time to even make time to balance all the things that are going on in my life. So here comes burnout. Here comes my mental not being as stable as it needs to be. Here comes me not being a quality person on all the realms in which I need to be. So yeah, I see my worth in me doing all the things in all the aspects, whether it's for people, whether it's for a job or like what I consider my job. Like, for instance, I want to do everything around the house. I want to be everything for my kids. I want to be everything for my husband. I want to be everything for the things that I want to do for myself. And to be real, that's impossible to be everything to all those things. So after a while, like, it's possible for a little bit, but after a while I find myself stressing out and being anxious and being upset and being irritable, and that's not cool because, like I said, that changes the quality of a person I am, and I don't like that. And then I find myself not enjoying things that I used to enjoy, and that's not cool either. So I just need to chill out. Not completely, but chill out a little more than what I've been doing. And I realized that in order to do that, I thought that acknowledging that I sometimes find my worth in the things that I do, acknowledging that was enough for me to realize, like, I need to stop trying to do and be everything. But that's not the case. I have to just be mindful of that, probably daily or weekly. Like, hey, you cannot do all these things in one day. Like, my to-do list will be 111,000 things, and it's not possible for one person to do all those things and to still have a healthy mental, I guess. And the challenge, for the most part, the challenge just goes into what you learned this week, depending on if it's something that you need to change. So for me, it's something I need to change. Like, I learned something, I need to change and make actions in order to not have to come to this lesson over and over again, like we talked about last week or week before that. So my challenge is to focus on not trying to do or be everything all the time. I pressure and stress myself about trying to do and be all the things, where I don't even chill out. I don't take time to relax. I don't take time to do anything because I feel like there's always something that needs to be done, and I got to realize that there will always be something that needs to be done, but I do need to relax and give my body time to just relax. And I already said it makes me not enjoy things I used to enjoy. But yeah, giving my body time, I just feel like I can always go. Even last week when I was feeling very sick, I was going. Like, come on, you're literally sick. You were sick. You need to rest and relax. Are you ridiculous? Are you crazy? Yes, I am. So that, in conjunction with, the regular everyday stuff, I realized that I gotta chill. I have to let my body relax. And they say that your body forces you to relax by making you sick. But I was already sick and not relaxing. What does that tell you? I gotta chill out. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be mindful every single day when I make my to-do list of all the things I need to do. Break things down. Do not take on way too much. Because even when I did have a to-do list that was very long, obviously all those things didn't get done. And then I'm stressed because now I got to put that on to the next day and the next day. And each day has its own things that you just add on to. It just is a never-ending cycle, and that's not fun. Well, I think that's it. And I think it's time to wrap this episode up. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like. If you're on Apple or Spotify, give it a rating. Subscribe, follow. Did I say follow? Subscribe. Comment below how you feel. Comment your response to any of the questions that I asked. And until next time, bye.